Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Insider's Guide to Project Cars 2, where today we're going to take a look at a new set of controller configuration settings that I'd like to recommend to you guys, as well as a new feature that has been implemented as of update 4, which is designed to help maintain control of the car when using a gamepad or controller. Now, for the first part of this episode, we're going to take a look at the controller configuration settings. Now, obviously, we need to go into the options, the control screen, then underneath the configurations tab is the new set of settings that I'd like to recommend to you guys. Now, if you've bought the game since update 3, or alternatively have gone and done a profile reset since then, these are the settings that you will have by default. Obviously, if you've gone ahead and customized and adjusted your controller configuration settings, your settings will probably look a little bit different to these. But these are the new defaults that you'll get since update 3. Obviously, if you bought the game prior to the update and haven't done a profile reset since then you'll be on the old settings, either the game's default, or if you've gone and set up a custom controller configuration settings and adjusted those yourself, then you'll have whatever settings that you have there. But what I recommend doing is take note of the settings that you see here on the screen now. I'll scroll down to the controller vibration that you can see down the bottom there. Take a note of all these settings that you see here on the screen in this video. Go to the game, take note of the controller configuration settings that you have in the game currently. Then once you have done that, implement these settings into your game and give it a go with your favorite cars on your favorite tracks. What these settings have been praised for is better car control at both high speed and low speed, and across a broader spectrum of cars as well. We have been hearing that some people were still struggling to find controller configuration settings that were working for them. They may have had good controller configuration settings for slow speed corners, but not so much for high speed, or vice versa, or was working in one car but not another type of car. So we wanted to improve the controller configuration settings further, propose a new set of settings for you guys to take and try out, and we feel that these are much better than they were previously. It requires less per car fiddling, as they work better across a broader spectrum of cars, from road cars right the way up to prototypes and open wheelers, and generally should give you better control in both the slow speed and also the high speed corners. So go ahead and take note of the settings that you see here. Obviously take note of the settings that you have currently on your system now. That way, if you don't really like these settings and you preferred your old settings, you can switch back easily and you won't have lost them. And obviously, if you do have your own set of controller configuration settings that you're very happy with and willing to share, feel free to pop those down in the comments section below as well. Now, the second part of this episode is taking a look at the new feature that has been implemented as of update 4, and that can be found in the gameplay screen under the authenticity tab, and is actually this new opposite lock assist option here. Now, what this is actually an assist that is aimed at controllers and gamepads. It doesn't really work with a wheel, so if you're using a gamepad or controller, you'll find that this will be turned on by default. If you're using a wheel, it'll be automatically turned off by default. And basically, when you get into those oversteering moments, what the game will now actually do is this assist will counter steer slightly into that slide. Now, you can lean on this assist, however you can't fully rely on it. You will still have to make some steering inputs yourself to help catch the slide, either whether that be with throttle or brake control, or turning into the slide slightly by tapping on the analog stick to counter steering. But what this will do is actually help control that slide a little bit and kind of half save it for you. It's something that you can lean on a little bit, but you can't fully rely on. So when you do get into those small slight oversteer moments, you'll see the wheel, it will start to turn and catch that slide for you, and you may need to give it a very quick tap of the analog stick just to correct that slide fully and regain control of the car. Now, one thing to note with this is that it will work fantastically for rear wheel drive cars. However, for front wheel drive and also four wheel drive cars, it could potentially be a little bit detrimental towards the handling and the control of the car. Obviously, where the steering, or the wheels that are doing the steering, are also actually the wheels that are applying the power down onto the road surface, you'll find that in whatever direction the wheel is being turned in, that is the direction of travel that you're probably going to go. So if you're in a rallycross car and you're sliding through a corner and you've got the opposite lock assist on, Obviously it will counter steer into that slide, but you also start to drift out a little bit wider, as generally when you're on the throttle and you're in a four-wheel drive car, you'll generally go in the direction that you're steering in. So keep that in mind when it comes to the opposite lock assist, and are driving with front wheel drive or four wheel drive cars, it may be worth turning the assist off. However, for rear wheel drive cars, this works an absolute treat, and it's also actually tied to the speed sensitivity option, which is why it won't work for wheels, as the speed sensitivity for a wheel is by default set to 0. Obviously if you've gone and adjusted it to your own personal preference, you may find that the opposite lock may have a little bit of an effect, but obviously as a wheel user, where you've got the range of the steering wheel to be able to counter steer, it's a lot easier to actually catch and manage a slide, whereas obviously with a gamepad and controller, where you've got that limited range of motion with the analog stick, or if you're steering with the D-pad or any other method, you may find to struggle to catch the slide a little bit. So this assist is aimed at helping you control those slides a little bit, and as you've seen here on the screen, been driving around in this Ligier GSP2 LMP2 car around Dubai at night. I've had a couple of small slight oversteering moments, and you can see that the steering wheel is counter steering into those slides, and all I'm really having to do is just do one or two very quick small taps with the analog stick to help catch that slide a little bit more and get the car straight again, and away I go. But generally it's worked a lot better in terms of gamepad handling, along with the new controller configuration settings, so I definitely recommend giving both of those a go and see how you guys get on. So that was just a quick look at those two options. That's going to conclude it for this episode as well. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Likewise, if you think you found a golden set of controller configuration settings that you'd like to share with other people, feel free to post those down in the comments as well for other people to try out, just in case people are still struggling to find settings that suit them. But if you've been enjoying these episodes, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Likewise, share the video, give it a thumbs up, whatever. I appreciate the support that you guys have been showing me, and hopefully I shall see you back in the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully catch you soon. In the meantime, take care.